themselves and show, yo, there's a reason why Ghost is in the squad. This is not a mistake. This is not because we ran out of options as to who's going to play carry for us. We kicked carry players serially throughout the year just to make sure we could get Ghost. And I'll be honest, in terms of the prior competitions where they were able to perform with him, it didn't look that great. But here at TI, they are looking phenomenal. And they, of course, already have the Enigma for Chalice. Silencer Tusk comes in from Boom. The Silencer hero, your favorite Fluke, really having all the stocks here in the group stages of TI. You must be very excited about that.
I'm absolutely elated here now. I could not think of anything that is cooler than pressing the R button and things go quiet. That just sounds like a riveting afternoon for me when it comes to Dota 2. I was just having a quick look back here for both these teams about how they interact with Enigma across the entirety of today. RNG have lost to it once, and Boom have beaten it once. So I think today going into this series that RNG, they haven't played the Enigma just yet for Chalice, so this is kind of newfound territory, if you ever want to call that. I think every offlane player in the world wants to be playing Enigma every single game, but it is kind of interesting that Boom have played it up against it once today and have been able to beat it. That was up against Hokori, and RNG actually did lose to it today up against Team Liquid. So maybe a few more of these stocks going in. I do understand the silencer response to the Enigma. Obviously, you do have that global silence to be able to deal with the black hole. You don't have to be anywhere near it. You don't have to do any of these funky shenanigans to get towards it. So I understand it. I'm not happy about it, Snare. I'm not happy with the fact that we're seeing a whole lot more of this Silencer. I know Moxie's going to stand by my side with that one because Silencer is the worst hero in the game. But hopefully now we see him. It's kind of starting to tear me to bits, right? Because, you know, I love BetBoom Esports, being a Southeast Asian Dota fan as well. Seeing my boy Upaj come out on the big screen is always nice. But seeing Silencer win, it doesn't feel too good.
We're going to have like a deep amount of internal conflict about this one. Right now, I'm loving this tiny pick that they have. Of course, I'm imagining that this is going to be the Kaka hero. Ghost, not going to play this. He did play it at times when this hero was still played in the safe lane, and so did Somnus. But Somnus always feels his best when he's playing a hero that can make a lot happen in a game. You were mentioning some Leshraks. I know that he's definitely going to play Ember Spirit in this tournament. So just any of these kind of heroes that can make the map their own. They did have a Shadow Fiend the other, was it yesterday, I think? Or earlier today they had a Shadow Fiend. Sorry,
yeah, they played SF today,
yeah. Interested to see where that goes as they get deeper into the draft. For Boom, I just want to make sure that this is not a game where Skem is feeding a lot. You know, it's actually interesting that Skem plays under the style of heroes. A lot of the heroes he plays are heroes that like naturally belie themselves to dying over and over again, and normally you wouldn't mind, but for some reason they just perform a lot better when he's not being targeted. We can just control the game from afar and say, this is what we're doing. If FBZ has to be the one that tanks the kills, if it's Tims, it's okay, but the captain must stay alive, so he has a game to be able to command from his perspective. Let's see here. Morphling only banned now in the second phase.
Yeah.
Should they have gone for this first phase, do you think, from the side of Boom?
I don't think so, just because like when we look across at Jackie, he's been really kind of leaning towards a lot more of these illusion-based heroes throughout this event so far. Interesting enough, though, that I want to bring up here, when they did play up against Hokori, they did open with the Silencer and the Tusk against the Enigma, then they followed that up with a Death Prophet, Mars, and a Templar Assassin. So maybe something of those heroes along those lines is probably what Boom are going to try and lean towards this time around, to see if they can kind of have the same draft up against an Enigma, because they want to have these heroes that have that little bit of extra pace. That's why I like this Death Prophet ban, because if you black hole a DP who gets like one Spirit Siphon off and an Exorcism, then it feels really, really bad, right? Because she's already utilized everything in her kit. It's going to be A-OK. The Global Silence is generally going to come out on top, Snowball save to be able to keep her alive, and she still does damage inside of it. So I like that ban that comes in from RNG. Getting rid of the Morphling as well from Ghost has been one of the heroes that he has really leaned towards in the past as well. So not too sad about that. It kind of leans us more towards Boom picking up this Mars, because, you know, Morphling as well as Ursa are two heroes that deal really, really well with the Mars. They have been playing on a few different members in their games as well. So they're just going to go with the Tidehunter. So another one of those heroes that is very similar to the Mars, really wants to not play up against these melee hero lane dominators in the Morphling and the Ursa, and they just want to be able to have that extra bit of team fight. And this is what they kind of did in response to the Enigma coming in from Hokori as well. They just had a boatload of team fight. They had the Death Prophet, they had the Mars, they had the Tusk, and they had the Silencer. So Boom looks like they're going to be doubling down on the team fight here and looking towards to see what RNG want to do, whether or not they want to double down on their own team fight here and try and have some of these heroes, you know, maybe even the Disruptor wouldn't be too bad of a shout right now, being able to catch out the Tidehunter, one of those heroes that has an ability that's actually able to deal with the Kraken Shell. The fact that the Static Storm can really kind of help them out, and obviously it has been a CIS classic for a little while now. We've been seeing his stonks rise, so I would love to see a Disruptor come out here for RNG. And there it goes.
Disruptor Luna, let's go.
Yep.
We already have the Disruptor, like you outlined, phenomenal versus the Tidehunter with the Kraken Shell. Static Storm, just really, really good. Weirdly enough, can also be quite positive versus Silencer, so that if you do catch him out in an awkward place, you hold him in position with Static Storm, and Tusk doesn't actually want to jump in there to save him for fear that he gets silenced himself, and then just gives you 2 kills on the bounce. So love this Disruptor pick. We've also seen good combos with the Disruptor and the Tiny as well. Like the Tiny can help set up, Disruptor drags you well out of position, Tiny drags you even further by tossing you into the team. But RNG, they do not go for the Luna, they go back for the Slark here. So in principle, the idea was like what? You eat this Tidehunter, you get like an obnoxious amount of stacks out of him. Ravage doesn't really hurt you that much, as you can just Q through it. You buy BKB and or Manta at times, so you're not that hard done by the Silencer. They don't have that much burst just yet from the side of Boom, right? And the only AoE coverage they have is Ravage at this point in time. I'm a little bit concerned maybe about the laning phase, but overall it does feel like it's going to be a pretty decent slot game. And what's wonderful here, Fluke, is that here is a hero that can go and hunt down your Silencer and pretty much solo kill him any single time in the game.
Yeah, this is some pretty textbook drafting that's coming between both these teams. They're just kind of responding to each other right now, because we saw in that second phase that there was kind of up in the air about where each team wanted to go, whether or not RNG wanted to double down on that team fighting route and what Boom wanted to make the response here. So the Slark is perfect response to the Tidehunter. You can get the Splish Splash going if you're able to get out of the Global Sards. Definitely thumbs up there for Ghost. If he's able to Dark Pact off a Global Sights, it feels really good. And the natural response coming in from Boom has been the Leshrac up against the Slark. The only other natural counter for the Slark is the reason why I really like this for RNG has been Tiny, because you go for this Aghanim Scepter build up and he just does so much damage that it doesn't even matter if you get the Shadow Dance off. That if you've got this Tree Volley going and Tiny is anywhere in that AoE, the Slark will literally just die, and he can't even fight up against the Tiny. So having the Tiny on your team for RNG really just makes this Slark pick a whole lot easier. Now he has to be a little bit more careful up against the Leshrac, but we talked about this a little bit off air. Where's the battery that comes in for the Leshrac? Are we going to be seeing a last pick IO? Maybe Boom can do like a mid Tusker for Yopaj, or maybe even a mid Silencer, and have a Wisp being picked up for Tims, and then be, you know, Skem playing something like this this Tusker or something like that. Maybe we might see that from Boom, but I think we might just be seeing, you know, the regions outside of China and not give them a save and not give them a battery to try and keep this Leshrac going. And I like these final couple of bans coming up from RNG as well. Just keep making sure their Slark just doesn't have too many more of these issues. It just has to deal with the Leshrac.
RNG's turn to pick.
He'll remove the vision control from Bloodseeker, make sure there's no AoE song with the Naga. And I would actually like that idea that you mentioned. Somebody played mid-Tusk earlier. Forget which team. It's been a lot of Dota today. But they played that mid-Tusk. And I would actually not be too upset by this. Like you said, we speak about this all the time because I'm always adamant that Leshrac does his best work when he has a battery. I always think back to when Team Aster, when Lanem was on the team, when they had this hero. White Album was still there as well. Whenever they played Leshrac, they always had a battery of some kind. And RNG, yes! Yes! No bias on the casting desk here, but Ember Spirit with Somnus, this is a treat. This is just a treat. is it my birthday right now? What is going on? Lost pick Somnus for the side of RNG here. So they have some aspect of team fight with the Enigma Tiny and the Ember Spirit, you know, some skirmishing potential. They have some really good mobility going into this game. Tiny's going to buy a Blink Dagger at some point. Slock and Ember are uncatchable. And with BOOM Esports, yes, they have Ravage. Yes, they have Split Earth. But both of these are long wind-up spells, right? Embers and Slocks can dodge these kind of spells, especially if they start to happen pre the Tidehunter picking up the Blink Dagger. So it is a statement of confidence, I think, to go with a draft like this. You're assuming and you're saying, heads up, we are going to win pretty much every single skirmish. If they start falling behind, it starts to look really bad for them because they are not that great at like de-pushing these waves if they come out. Sure, you can keep sliding through, throw in the avalanches and stuff, but you suck at dealing with the big ball, so you just have to ensure you're always on the front foot, always dragging heroes out of position with the Disrupt and the Tiny. This feels good to me because if you're an RNG fan, you would imagine and envision them playing this only if they're supremely confident that they are the better team. So BOOM Esports, what do you want to see as a response here at the very end of the draft for this Ember Spirit to deal with him? So far, it's what? Him matched up against the Leshrac in the mid lane?
Yeah.
Is there something else you'd like to see? Maybe they put some Invoker in for your Pudge and then shift Leshrac into the safe lane?
Yeah, I feel like they might have to go for something along those lines. Okay, they're just going to go fall back for the Pudge. Okay, I like this Pudge pick. You know, Jackie's been able to pick that up a few times for BOOM Esports, and your Pudge is going to be able to pick up the Leshrac here. So I think they were kind of in an awkward spot. Maybe if it wasn't an Ember Spirit they came out for RNG, I still would have liked them to go for the Wisp and then try and transition this Tuskar into something like a mid lane. Maybe that still would have been a relatively A-OK way for them to do it. You know, Jackie's been able to pick up the Leshrac and then Yopaj picks up the Tuskar and they have this Tusk versus Ember Spirit matchup. I'd imagine that matchup's relatively okay for the Tusk. He's naturally kind of got a lot of stats and should be able to fight out a lot of this this damage that comes in from the Ember Spirit. But I like the response to the Pudge. My only issue is the Pudge into the Slark matchup. If Slark just has this good time where he's able to freely steal a lot of these stats coming in from the Pudge as well as the Tidehunter, these team fights start going a little bit longer. They get kited out by the glimpse, by the avalanche tosses, by everything that the Ember Spirit has been able to do, that Boom's going to have this kind of issue of sticking on some of these targets. But I think outside of that, they should have relatively good lanes, good ways of being able to deal with it. FBZ is going to have a bit of a rough time. He's always kind of been put on an island. But I'm looking towards Tim's to make these rotations and alleviate a bit of pressure here for Boom, whereas RNG, I think their draft is relatively straightforward. You know, they've got an Enigma, they've got the Ember Spirit, Somnus is going to do Somnus things, Ghost just going to have to get up that Aghanim Scepter, get up that BKB, probably try and get in towards the Silver Edge as well, get in towards the back line, start doing some Slark things, and play on the front foot is exactly the way that you put it. And I think that's the best way to play here for RNG, always on the front foot.
That is the one thing that's going to be iffy about this, is that there will be a period of time at the very early portion of the game after the laning phase has broken down and in the earlier parts of the mid game where RNG are going to be feeling a little bit of a lack of damage. They won't be able to burst down targets very quickly all the time. They'll have to rely on Somnus just popping off and the help of the Tiny to do so. But once they start kicking into gear, once they start getting bigger and bigger, elongated fights will pretty much be impossible for Boom. Yes, they'll have the Tidehunter, yes, they'll have this Pudge, but you'll also have the Slog, like you mentioned, just happy to chomp people up, move into the edge of the fight, and come back because they'll have this massive mobility advantage. But let's find out where this goes. Is it the Slog game for Ghost? Is it going to be the Jackie Boys Pudge winning things out for the side of BOOM Esports? Game number 1, the final series of the day here on Stream D. Let's get into it, Fluke. Which way are we going? Which way are we going? I mean, I feel like anybody who's ever heard me on a microphone doesn't even have to ask which team I'm rooting for here.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of the Chinese bias coming in there from Mr. Snare, but I don't know. I really like both of these drafts. I like the response that came in from RNG, but I definitely feel like Boom got some good heroes to make their own transitions here. We've seen Pudges kind of fall flat today, but we've also seen Pudges pop off pretty hardcore. I'm just going to give Boom a slight edge. I think this is like a 60-40 towards Boom, where RNG, I feel like, as you said, in the early stages of the game, they're going to run out of damage at a certain point. And I think that's when Boom's really going to be able to take advantage of that and try and get to a lot of these towers going.
No matter what, this is going to be a very fun game of Dota.
Yeah.
Boom already stacked up on the high ground. We're looking for some cheeky kind of hook play, but I think they realized that RNG is probably caught onto this. And indeed, RNG did emerge with 4 heroes of their own to try and contest. So nobody's dying first blood. It's all good. It's all chilled.
Yeah.
And
okay.
will there be any normal trades? Yep, nothing spectacular it seems is going to happen. Well, actually, RNG have been able to pick up an additional bounty rune. If Kaka or Chalice goes to check in the jungle, they could wind up with 3, but it's very dangerous to walk up the hill. Definitely not worth the outlay of gold that a bounty rune at minute 0 gives you.
Check it, FBZ. Nobody's getting the lowly little bounty rune. It's the radiant bounty rune. It's gonna be stuck there. Nobody's gonna get it. Nobody wants to check it. Both teams were too scared to go in towards that radiant bounty rune. They're just like, yeah, nah, we don't want to be a part of this. They also did have the lane swap as well, so Boom are definitely a team that didn't want to have to show this early on. So a bounty rune's just gonna go begging for a little bit here until somebody makes the first rotation at 3 minutes. But I like this transition from Boom. They know that they can put a lot of pressure on towards top, especially if they get a few of these hook plays. Especially with Gaimin Tim's here as well. They're forcing X-Nova to TP back towards a tier 1. So I like this opener that comes in here from Boom. They understand that they can put a little bit of extra pressure on towards the Slark because he is one of those weak laners in the first couple of levels. And if they're able to get a few kills early on, FBZ is just going to be FBZ Titan in the bottom side. And now it's all about this musical chairs. Ghost is dead.
Unfortunately, that musical chair might require us to have Ghost killed first, and Jackie emerges with the first blood. Tims might end up taking a tumble here. Unfortunately, is there enough damage? No, there isn't. Survives on 25 HP. You see the danger levels that can be expressed on the Slark, though. At level 1, he only has a point into the Dark Pack, no pounce available, so cannot remove himself from the ice shards. And they immediately bring him bottom. They're like, well, we don't want to do with this, but guess what? His homies are coming with him. It's a party. They're all down bottom.
Yeah, this is the TI musical chairs. This is my favorite time snare. This is where I love seeing these mind games that come out between these teams. Only in TI is when you see these lanes go out and you know that it is all about the musical TP scrolls, right? Where Ghost says, well, I've died, so I've got to TP to some lane. My Enigma's already here, so I guess I've got to go bottom. And then Jackie just goes, okay, I'm going to follow you too. Now you don't have a TP scroll. I don't have a TP scroll either, but are you really going to try a walk top? I'm going to take those couple of minutes of CS and experience and be perfectly happy with it. So it's always good to be the team that makes the first rotation when it comes to these lane swaps, because 90% of the time you're going to end out on top, especially if you get a kill.
Yep. Bottom, though, we might actually have a kill happening as well here onto Kaka. He's attempting to run away from Tims. Tims has access to the snowball and ice shards again. Just came back on cooldown, so it's going to lead into another kill. Feels very, very good. And they're committing still to this full tri-lane idea. They're not going to come in dribs and drabs. They're like, yo, man, you're playing into a tri-lane Ghost, and there's nothing you can do about this. FBZ has migrated to the top lane, but it's playing into Disrupt to Enigma. You'll be fine. You'll be okay. Yep. And here comes another one. Kaka's coming top. They're actually going to try move in for a kill, though. X-Nova has access to the Glimpse, and Chalice does have the Malefice stun. So FBZ should die. Ghost doesn't want to get left out of the party. So he shows up as well. They surround FBZ. They really want this RNG. FBZ does not want to give it to him. The flag bearer creep actually blocking a bit of the approach here. Ghost finally able to get on top of him. Can they give him the kill?
Oh, no.
Bro, he is making them work for this one. FBZ, my god. Will eventually end up dying. But Slark, no bonus RNG for you, my friend. And FBZ. That's how you lane a side hunter. You drove 4 heroes to the top side of the map for a whole 30 seconds. What a player.
FBZ must be absolutely chuckling to himself right now, because that is probably the funnest thing that I've seen all throughout the entirety of today here, Snare. The FBZ, he knows that Ghost wants the permanent Agi, so he's just trying to stay away from Ghost as much as he possibly can. And now they're in this awkward scenario where their Enigma's back bottom once again. They got the bottle refill from FBZ back here on to Japoy. And he's going to be going towards this this water rune as well. And I don't know what it is in the water of BetBoom Esports today, but they are doing some funky, wacky stuff. There are heroes absolutely everywhere at 4 minutes into this game. And I don't think they're going to be slowing down, because they understand that the heroes that they have, all they need is experience, right? You know, they've got a Pudge, they've got a Tide Hunter, they've got a Leshrac. Like, these heroes, yeah, they do like a little bit of gold, but they don't need gold to keep fighting. Whereas, you know, on RNG, the Slark needs a few more of these extra items. Chalice really wants to start to build towards his aura items, his spirit vessel, all that kind of jazz. And that's where they're able to just kind of walk around the map and be these kind of goofy little goofballs and just make this game weird. I think that's the best thing for these teams, that when they come into some of these games where they might be considered the underdog and might be a little bit hard for them to try and overcome some of these heroes, is if you just make it weird, but you make it weird on your terms, you're going to be the team that actually half understands about what things are going on. You can kind of play that kind of weird Dota style.
The compatriots of RNG back in China on Extreme Gaming are a squad that often plays that style of Dota of just making the game as strange and bizarre as humanly possible. So RNG will have practice against that. We'll see how things go and if they're able to adapt to the changing tides that are happening right now. Let's take a look middle, the only lane that only has 2 heroes involved with each other. Hopefully nobody just goes to try and kill each other on the side. So far, very even on the CS charts here. Of course, Soniqs does have a bit more responsibility, right? Because he has to actually do stuff on the map once he hits level 6, level 7. Erstwhile, your Page can just wait for him to leave and then just try and muscle over the tower with the Diabolic Edict. If you're Soniqs, where do you think you want to go on the map right now as he starts to accrue levels?
I think the best place for him to try and get a kill is trying to just kill Skem early on. Obviously, Jackie is feeling pretty good with how his Pudge is going right now. He's got the phase boost and he's just putting a lot of pressure onto Chalice. So I would like to see him make a rotation with the Disruptor, try and kill onto Skem, or maybe if they can take their Pudge here as well. An awkward fight at top.
Very awkward fight. Nova should end up getting burnt down here. Try to glimpse back on one of the targets, but unfortunately, glimpse is counteracted by the snowball. Soniqs in the meantime is actually chasing Skem around. Doesn't have access to the chains, but should be able to get this kill. Unless Skem is going to go for the most epic deny ever of all time. He's just going to waste his time. Well, I think he took some cues from what FBZ was doing in the top lane and being like, sometimes just frustrating them, wasting their time makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, just buying a bit of extra time, right? Like, the fact that it took that extra couple of seconds for Soniqs to get that kill there on a Skem meant that Yopaj was able to clear up a creep camp, get himself a few of this extra bit of gold going his way as well. And Leshrac can abuse a lot of these stacks that are going forward, and that's what he's going to try and do right now. Make a triple stack here on the hard camp. He's going to have the Pulse Nova. He's going to have Skem here as well to be able to get that going. But first, he just needs to push out this mid lane, be okay with it, and then Yopaj is going to have a lot of gold going in towards his pocket. So game state has started to calm down a little bit here. RNG relatively okay with how this is going. Ghost, considering the musical chairs that he had to play at the start of the game, has recovered nice and well. He's at the top of the net worth right now. He's feeling really good with how things are going, and Boom really haven't been able to get any more of these extra kills after the opening 3 that they got. So you're pretty happy if the RNG. Soniqs has been in his own little bubble. Chalice has been getting his farm up as well. He's almost on that level 6. He's already got the urn built up. So, yeah, all in all, RNG feeling pretty good with how this game is going. And I guess the same thing with Boom as well. We're not all too sad with how this game state is.
Not everybody is that happy, though. Scambelu about to have a bit more misery injected into his experience as he gets taken down in this bottom lane. All right, so that's nice for Chalice as well. Sometimes you get to farm heroes. It's very enjoyable. And then after you do that, you just keep chilling. Get that early Wraith pack going as soon as possible. Soniqs needs to be careful here, playing around where Tims is. Yopaj has come back to try and assist. Of course, the split earth, pretty difficult to try and lock down there. Came very close to killing Tims. Man, Soniqs starting to feel some of their lack of experience from this mid lane between himself and Yopaj. He was able to get like CS on par with the Leshrac, but he was out denied, so he is behind on the levels. Doesn't have access to the Searing Chains just yet. If he had chains, like, there's so many moments up until this point in this game where Searing Chains would have made such a difference. But he'll get there eventually, even if he doesn't see it just yet. Hook shot, or hook rather, thrown out onto the young Tiny. Tims almost died inside this Midnight Pulse. They do get the kill onto Kaka first. Soniqs, though, makes his way towards bottom. And that is an answer towards the question I asked you earlier. Where is he going to go first? Turns out he's going to go bottom, and he's going to immediately get a kill as he does so.
Yeah, I think bottom was probably going to be the best way for him to go there. Just kind of gives them a little bit of this extra pressure. They've always got kill threat with Chalice as well. It's going to be oh so hard to try and kill this Tidehunter. Yopaj understands that as well. Understanding that Ghost as well as Xnova really don't want to be a part of this, and the fact that you've got a level 9 Leshrac now maxed out and Diabolic Edict FBZ Level 6 on the Tidehunter, so access to the Ravage just means that Boom are going to have this pretty strong ball that they can kind of just smash in towards these tier 1 towers. And who's really going to respond, right? You know, RNG. They don't want to send Chalice there because he's getting ever closer towards his own side of his offering. Ghost still extremely far behind, having to go for this Mage Slayer early on. That's the kind of only real response that you have as a Slark against this Leshrac counter to your hero. Is getting the Mage Slayer early on and is trying to get some of these fights where you can build up some of these stats early on and then get towards things like the BKB and the Skadi. So they are understanding that RNG need to try and alleviate a bit of the pressure that's going to come to them in the next couple of minutes, right? It's starting to hit that exponential point, especially now with Jack Boy being able to catch out Kaka.
Trying to force a fight. The silence will help them get this kill. Somnus showed up, but Somnus has no mana here. Forcing the envelope a little bit. Does have more bottle charges at the ready. Will choose to pop it. The Indus do come out. Really would like to chase down Jackie, but at this stage of the game, probably not going to end up happening. So, Somnus already showing us the style of Ember Spirit we can anticipate out of him today. He's going to be moving around the map quite a lot. Because they're unable to get that kill though, that does leave FBZ very happy in his lane, getting closer towards having Blink Dagger. Tims is doing the same. I must say, as much as RNG are probably like, okay, we're getting the farm that we want, Boom starting to get into that slight moment of acceleration, especially with Yopaj. Already finished off the full Hood of Defiance. Yule Scepter coming soon, top of the net worth. This Leshrac, for a significant portion of time, up until there's like Mage Slayer, maybe 1-2 items, maybe even a Blink from Enigma so he can black hole him. This Enigma's going to be, or the Leshrac rather, going to be a big, big problem in this game.
Yeah, I think Yopaj is really starting to hit that nice little item spike that we've got right now. 11 minutes in, not really that many items completed on the side of RNG. Getting ever closer towards that Mage Slayer here for Ghost, and maybe they're able to defend some of these towers, but nobody's really making any of these extra moves. The only real tower that we've dropped so far has been this top tier 1 tower. FBZ is doing a good job to be able to hold the bottom one up against Chalice there, and both these teams just happy to farm out. You know, obviously we know that RNG, they want to build towards this Mage Slayer +1 item for Ghost. Somnus still hasn't gotten his first item yet. I like that he's decided to fall back for this Orb of Corrosion as well. This means that he gets that little bit of extra damage to try and finish off some of these kills that he missed out on early on. And then he's going to go in towards the Blade Mail. Just a natural counter up against the Leshrac. He wants to try and stand in these team fights with the maxed out Flame Shield and kind of just stand there and take everything from Yopaj.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Somnus inside Radiant jungle right now. As the mid tower gets taken down, Yopaj just way too strong. So they don't even bother trying to mount a defense here. Ghost also just feeling a little bit fragile. Only 1,000 HP available on our slot. So it doesn't want to force any issues. I'm kind of intrigued as to what RNG's plan is soon. Let's just drag back FBZ like they want to try and go onto him with Somnus. They will have access here to the Flame God, but unfortunately they lack the damage. You know, we spoke about this earlier, that at this early point, man, they just don't do anything, RNG. It takes so long before they get to the point where that starts to change. And we still don't have access to the Searing Chains from Somnus, so you can't hold these heroes in position for the catch-up. We see elsewhere on the map, the Silencer did end up getting picked off by Ghost and Kaka. At bottom, they can't really put pressure onto FBZ. Chalice even gives away a small Eidolon on me. That can't feel good, but FBZ ecstatic about this. They've held the tower. They forced commitment of moves, knowing full well that these heroes can't really do anything else but farm on this side of the map after the move doesn't connect. So, BetBoom Esports just generally feeling themselves on the map right now. Xnova, is he dead or is he very dead? Let us find out. Oh, he's not dead. Not neither. He's cool. Glimpse sends back the assaulting hero. Hence they came, so he doesn't have to worry about himself.
Yeah, getting the Glimpse back there on FBZ. I thought maybe they might want to commit an early Ravage here just because they know that RNG don't want to have this fight too early on. So feeling like that they can try and sit back and farm a little bit as well, but still being able to hold on to this. Yopaj is getting ever close towards his Bloodstone, and we talked about a lot of these item spikes coming in from Boom. I think this Bloodstone from Yopaj is just going to mean he's going to be able to turn up the aggression to 11. We've seen throughout the entirety of LCQ and throughout the entirety of this group stages today what Leshrac can do with the Bloodstone. I was talking to you as we were in the break before we got into our series here on the D stream, and I can't believe that one specific hero makes one specific item look so broken that it actually needs a nerf. And that is the Bloodstone and Leshrac combination. If they find Ghost here, this could be big. Boom, looking for a bit of aggression. The Global Silence comes out.
Oh,
they need to connect.
That's a great global. He's dead. He's so dead. They do find him. Oh no, I need to stop saying that. How did they? So, what happened is that I don't think did he take the Leshrac in the snowball? I don't think he did.
I don't think he did.
So they couldn't. Yeah, he couldn't close the gap to get off the split earth. It's a bit unfortunate. Yeah. Oh well, these things happen.
Yeah, I mean, it was a nice idea with the Global Silence, but just not being able to follow it up with anything more, right? Like, you saw the Global Silence and Ghost just had to tuck himself in towards those trees. He was able to do that, and Yopaj just wasn't close enough to split it. But now with Global Silence down, I think this is a good time here for RNG. You can see that they want to get aggressive. They've got the Black Hole, they've got the Static Storm, FBZ, perfect target.
They are a bit worried about the Ravage, but let's see if they have enough damage to kill him off before that becomes an issue. Looks like that will be the case. Although there are heroes streaming into the tier 1 tower, they don't want to fully commit into trying to jump on the high ground, especially with Jackie still farming the triangle right now. So Tidehunter does find himself being brought down in this mid lane. And they're going to keep this push onto the tier 1 tower mid as well. Okay. This is decent timing here for the side of RNG. They bounce him out the jungle, they get the kill. It is unfortunate that it does require their entire lineup. That's the issue with their draft right now, right? They don't have enough power spikes on the Slok nor the Ember Spirit that either of them can be left out of this rotation. It does require everybody to be involved to make things happen on this map.
Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Jackie's just really been able to farm up. He's getting ever closer towards that Aghanim Scepter. FBZ has the Ravage. He's going to Ravage from the trees. Looking towards Somnus. He's got a Remnant.
Okay. Remnant's out. The thing is, it's such a hard decision to make, right? Oh, wait, hold that thought. They toss him forward. Kaka throws him into the rest of the squad. Might have set himself up for failure, though. Gets himself killed very early on. Fortunately for him, doesn't seem like BetBoom Esports was set up to take advantage of a Ravage, so FBZ would not let it rip. Yopaj does finish off the Bloodstone. That was a weird-ish kind of fight that ended up happening here. It felt like neither side really wanted to use any of their spells, right? For fear of what would happen immediately afterwards. Like, well, we use the spell now. Now we don't have it available to fight for the next X amount of time. As is the older dodge. It's not the Black Hole, it's not the Ravage, it's the fear of set spells at times. So not committing them makes sense.
Yep, it's all about the posturing. It's all about the fear of the 5-man Ravage. Can FBZ hit the sickest clip of his life? Or will RNG be able to sidestep it? They've got a lot of items coming up now for RNG that are able to kind of weather them through this storm that was going to be this awkward kind of mid-game timing for them. Kaka's got a Blink Dagger. Somnus is getting about 100 gold away from his Maelstrom as well, so their damage is going to start to ramp up. This Wraith Pact as well as the Urn that comes in from Chalice. I like this kind of Enigma build where you're not relying so heavily on the Black Hole. It's much more about you being in the team fights, utilizing a lot of your spells and a lot of rounds of those spells. Means that he's just able to stick in these team fights and do a lot of work. Obviously, X-Nova being the position 5 player is generally lacking on the net worth, so he's a little bit further down the tree than everybody else would like, but everybody else around him on RNG are definitely starting to hit these item timings. Slark's getting close towards his Aghanim Scepter here. He's only the point booster away, and once that comes up, then Boom really haven't been able to abuse their kind of early game timings, and that's when we're really looking towards Jackie, who now has the Aghanim Scepter, to be able to come into these next couple of team fights. And imagine there's going to be a whole lot of clashes in the next couple of minutes here, Snare.
They are certainly trying to open up the map more with these timings being hit. Ags being picked up by the Jackie Pudge. Not too long ago, we did see the Bloodstone completed for Yopaj. So if there's ever a time to try and make things happen on the map, now is that time. Scam obviously still holding on to the Global Silence. They're going to put some pushing pressure onto the tier 2 tower. Given that this is Diabolic Edict, this goes by very, very quickly, but the Enigma push down bottom is also not slow by any state of, or by any stretch of imagination, so should be just a straight up trade between the two sides. I don't think anybody really wants to risk a awkward defense here. Now with both of these tier 2s gone, outposts are going to get traded. And it's going to become about who can get control of the Roshan pit first here, Fluke. We've seen that really be the thing that determines how the early game actually ends, is who is in possession of that first and all-important Aegis. Now that Ghost has also picked up access to this Aghanims, they really want to force a fight somewhere. Look at this, they're actually trying to force a fight down bottom. Having Chalice force this push in, and then X-Nova waiting in the wings so there's somebody pokes their head out, they either get glimpsed back to the other side of the map or get held in position for a bad fight. And there's Kaka just goes in raw. Static Storm gets unleashed onto FBZ. Do they have the damage for this though? I'm not 100% sure. Ghost really trying to get this kill, and they don't have the damage. Glimpse back. Who did they send away? Nobody. Because Tims is going to be there with the snowball to prevent it from happening. Dodging the glimpse, ensuring that Boom has 5 members back to defend. RNG will be forced to retreat away from this bottom lane if they want to keep their lives.
Yeah, that was big there from Tims. I feel like if that glimpse went through there from RNG, they would have been happy. I believe it was on Tims himself. They got glimpse all the way back towards the top lane. So now Boom, they really want to try and run forward. Nobody utilized anything too large. There was only the Shadow Dance as well as the Static Storm. So Boom are more than happy to try and get on the front foot here and really trying to press RNG. You talked about the Roshan. I feel like it's going to be pretty hard for both these two teams to try and take Roche. I think the only real team that can kind of have a shout at it is maybe RNG if they get themselves like a DD rune and a little bit of time with the with Roshan himself. But both these teams are really going to struggle to try and take Roche in fast kind of manner. And that's why you can see that they're trying to posture and pick apart each other, right? That's why you see RNG pushing in towards that bottom side. They wanted to see if there was going to be an under rotation or an over rotation. They wanted to see if there was going to be too many people that got moved around. And if there was too many people sitting towards that that bottom tier 3, they could take control of this top side of the map, get themselves a tier 1 tower, get themselves into the triangle and hopefully into Roche. But now the smoke up here from Boom, they want to use this Ravage.
Oh my god. Ghost yet again pops
the
a
split
rotation from the side of Boom. The last time around he was deeper into the jungle where he stops them from being able to kill him. And now he breaks a 4-hero smoke. Feels good to be playing Slug sometimes. Scouts out what Boom are trying to do here. Kaka is in the trees, does have a blink dagger, so I don't think he dies here. Tumbler's Toy. Wait, did he just dodge the ice shards of Tumbler's Toy and then blink deeper into the trees? What a player.
Oh, he gets out.
Kaka, God. Kaka, God. What a man. But Boom now, they take advantage of this. Look what happens here, Fluke. They read that, well, there's only one place he could have gone under such circumstances. He definitely went home. So he's the one hero that is most influential at breaking us up when we're trying to initiate. So it's time to smoke. Go force a fight somewhere on the map.
But can they get the initiation? That's the big thing for me. Ghost is in the front once again, and Gaimin needs to catch this slug. What is that?
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Like, it's impossible for them to try and get on top of this slug because they don't want to commit the global, and they don't want to commit a Ravage because he's just going to Dark Pact it off. RNG, like, the way they're playing around this map is extremely well right now. You're definitely upset if you're a Boom fan. Okay, they found Chalice. Okay, Ravage that bad boy. Okay, we take those.
It feels like he was trying to bait them into using Ravage just as he finishes the TP out, but he might have also just been like, well, if I bait them into using Ravage, they've Ravaged down in front of their own tier 3 tower. We're fighting here, nowhere else, so now when they want to try and move away from that side of the map, they won't have the Ravage available. They still have access to the global silence, but the Ravage, it's not just a big teamfight spell. FBZ built Blink to make this Ravage good. And now we see Ghost catching out Jackie in the river. I don't think either of them really want this smoke. You know? That's one of those, you're punching each other up for a while and you're like, this is actually not a good idea, is it? Nah. Let's make this go.
Yeah, I definitely feel like that could have been a scenario if maybe there wasn't a Dark Pact that came out there from Ghost. If they were able to get the bite and then in combination with the global silence, that would have been a straight up kill there for Jackie. And it's just been an awkward couple of minutes for Boom. You can tell that they really want to be on the front foot and they want to utilize their big team fight ultis, but they just haven't been able to. They've been constantly running into Ghost, constantly running into Somnus, two of the worst heroes for them to try and catch. Yes, they do have the Blink Ravage now, but FBZ has got that bad boy on cooldown. And now Boom are the ones that are going to get aggressed on from RNG. And this is a very, very slow game. Both these teams are really starting to respect each other and understanding that there's a lot of counterplay and a lot of outplay from both the heroes that they have on their teams as well. Here's Snare, and I think this game is just going to slow down even further until we start getting towards these latter stages with, you know, the BKBs being popped when everyone starts to feel A-OK, but that's when you're really starting to favor RNG. You know, Slark getting towards the late game feels really, really strong. We see what Ember Spirits have been able to do. And we've just seen how awkward it's been for Boom for them to try and get these team fights that land and try and get the team fights they want. So this game starts getting later and later. I'm going to start getting more and more scared, I think.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
As it stands right now, still posturing around the Roshan pit. Like you mentioned, neither team has an easy way to go into the pit. They still need to poke and prod. A very low-scoring game as well overall. Might be one of the shallower ones in terms of kills. 6 to 7 at the 25-minute mark. I know some of
Dire's
our
bottom tower is under
degenerate
attack.
gamblers
Radiant's
will
top
be watching this and
tower
be
is
like,
under
where's our first to 10? What's
That's my
happening?
first to 10.
But
Guys, first to 10? Question mark? That's Twitch chat right now. So Twitch chat, we're not up to it just yet. We're playing League of Legends Worlds here currently. It is coming. Hopefully we get something out of it soon. Only a 1k net worth lead as well here, Snare. So really not much to write home about for either of these two teams. Tim's went for a early mechanism here on the Tusker. I don't hate it, but it feels kind of bad now that there's not really that much fighting. Like, it would have been really, really good if we had a lot of these tier fights going on early on. I could imagine the idea was, oh, we've got a Pudge, we've got a Leshrac. We want to constantly fight. We want to constantly be running in towards their faces, and if we have just that little bit of extra burst heal, then maybe some of these fights with the Slark tries to turn around, tries to play the edge of the fight, we're able to turn around, get the kill on the Slark, and then snowball from there. But it just hasn't really worked out, and that's why Tim's is going back for this Blink Dagger now. What's Skembaloo got? He's got his 4 stuff up and ready. That's basically all you need is a silencer against the Slark.
oh wow.
Oh, no.
Well, what a jump coming in from the Slark. The double pounds, able to catch out and kill the silencer there. At the same
Back for this Blink Dagger now. What's Skembaloo got? He's got his 4 stuff up and ready. That's basically all you need is a silencer against the Slark.
oh wow.
Oh, no.
Well, what a jump coming in from the Slark. The double pounds, able to catch out and kill the silencer there. At the same time, though, Jackie able to get the hook back onto Kaka, but he's caught inside the Static Storm now, so he might end up dying for this one. Has the BKB at the ready, so he can just walk through it, but BKB is not eternal. Somnus activate his own BKB right now. Unfortunately, no real catch
hook.
available. Ghost gets hooked back, and there's no more access to the Shadow Dance. Ghost is going to end up popping. Jackie finally yoinks him back. They put him inside the Ravage, and that's going to be enough for them to not just kill the Slark, but definitively win the skirmish. RNG started it, Boom finish it, and they feel so good about being able to kill Slark while he's trying to get to BKB.
You just see this first, second pounce that came in there from Ghost. Skem was just trying to force up himself away far enough so the second pounce didn't lash onto him. Sometimes in those scenarios, you want to just kind of wait until you get leashed because you'll be able to break it with the 4 stuff. But I understand the idea there from Skem just trying to get himself completely out of dodge. But losing the silencer early on and not using the global silencer, still getting the kill onto the Slark there. You're pretty happy if you're Boom right now. Jackie's really getting towards that point where he's starting to hit his critical mass on the Pudge. I talked about the Slark enjoying going in towards the Pudge, but I think the reason why that Boom decided to pick this Pudge here is he can kind of outscale the Slark at an exponential kind of rate, right? Well, they're going to go in on FBZ in the middle lane. I'll hold that idea for
Try
a bit.
to at the very least. They haven't been able to really put a dent into him as of yet. Somnus shows up to just clear out a creep wave. They're still posturing around each other. The pings are going out for the Roshan pitch here from the side of Boom.
Oh, the
And get a
glimpse.
glimpse back onto Jackie. He has BKB, but really didn't want to use it. Now goes in for the BKB during the Static Storm. Eats and dismembers Chalice to prevent the Black Hole counterplay here. So he will able to rot down and kill the Enigma. In the meantime, elsewhere in the fight, Somnus forced to try and TP away from this one. Ghost trying to flee as well. Not going to be allowed to do so just yet. X-Nova throws the glimpse back, just so these heroes get kept as far away from him as humanly possible. But that is RNG losing out on 2. After yet again, they're the ones that initiated the fight. They brought Jackie deeper, but they couldn't find the Black Hole before the BKB dismember came out.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of an awkward interaction. You want to try and catch the Pudge on top of the Midnight Pulse as well, and this is kind of circling back to what I was just about to say about the Pudge. The reason behind the Pudge is he can kind of outscale the Slark at a faster tempo, right? We've seen what happens as soon as he hits this Aghanim set the BKB timing. Like, what are you supposed to do against this Pudge that does so much damage to you in such a huge AoE? Like, not everyone is able to have these BKBs to try and deal with him, and they have to try and find this fine line of committing enough to kill Jackie, but committing enough to kill Jackie in such a fast time that he doesn't kill somebody else with them. We saw how fast he was able to melt through Chalice there as well on the Enigma, and now that he has a Paladin sword, I don't know if you're going to be able to kill Jackie. Like, I think it's gotten to a point now where RNG have kind of just left this Pudge to his own devices for a little bit too long. And the Slark is going to have to get 1 or 2 more items before he can actually deal with this Pudge in these team fights.
Yeah. I think Ghost is right now a serious sufferer of 1 more item syndrome. It happens. You play these like Slogs, Clinkses. You're just like, man, if I just had this 1 more item, I feel so much stronger.
Yeah.
He needs BKB really, really badly. I mean, we talked about this AoE damage from the Pudge, but we still have to contest with and deal with the AoE damage from this Leshrac. So until you have BKB just fighting into the squad is an absolute no-go. And even after that, probably want the Sky of Skadi as well. Might even want a +1 item.
Dire's bottom tower
Just
is
it's
under
a long road for Ghost. If he gets there, the game does become quite playable for him, but right now, you just stay the hell away from the side of BetBoom Esports as they continue to muscle down some towers. They've taken the tier 1 down bottom, looking to clean up yet another tier 2 down in this side of the map. RNG, there's no real big response to this, right? I think you just hold off, try to finish BKB for Chalice. He has Blink Dagger at the ready, so if they come up the hill, nice, man. He's fine, dude. He's still a Shadow Dance. Don't scare me like that, Luke.
Radiant structures
I'm
are
getting jumpy.
fortified.
I'm getting jumpy, Snare. I know you're on a really good point there, but I'm getting jumpy, brother. It's getting spooky for RNG.
Well, spooky for Kaka right now. Gets caught by the tier 2 tower, gets taken out. This will lead to them taking the tier 2 in short order. This is so scary, just how quickly they can knock these buildings over. Positioning FBZ further forward so that they can both scout out further movements and be there for counter initiation. And then Yopaz just presses a solitary button and the building just falls over. They might not be done just yet. They still have access to this Aegis, so they might want to try again to go up onto the high ground here. They've already committed the Bloodstone though, so that kind of sucks. Chalice gets jumped on. Oh no, that's the worst target. No Enigma means no Black Hole, which means also Fluke, absolutely no team fight. Aren't they going to come back to defend this?
I think you have to let this go. You're not going to get Mega Creep. There's still tier 2 towers in towards the mid lane, but like, what is your response supposed to be here for RNG? I don't think they have a response. One, they can't deal with Jackie, and I don't think they're going to be able to kill Yopaj twice. He has BKB, he has Aegis, he has Bloodstone. So it's now gotten to the point where RNG, they go, okay, we're just going to let this first barracks go. We're going to be A-okay with that. We're just going to leave it be, and then we're going to try and get a few more of these items back up on our members, because Chalice, he needs a BKB. You know, Slark needs a BKB. Somnus needs a BKB. They've at least got 2 of them. But they need the 3rd one here on Chalice, because you saw as soon as this Pudge gets anywhere near the Enigma, he's just dead. And he will just instantly die as well. So RNG understand that they're in this very awkward scenario where they can't really deal with the Pudge, but they don't really have a good way of getting there without items. You know, maybe, you know, in some other instances in some other games, you might be able to out-team fight him, you know, kind of put him in a weird position with things like the Spirit Burst and stuff like that. But they understand they kind of need to Black Hole the Pudge by himself. They need to get the BKB so they don't get ravaged. They need to get the BKB so they don't get, you know, randomly global silenced. And I think RNG are just going to have to try and fight their way out of this. They have to get the Black Hole onto the Pudge, but then they also have to make sure that this global silence is at an awkward time as well. So there's a lot of things that have to go right here for RNG, Snap. They are definitely falling a little bit behind, and my originally purchased Dota Plus has told me this is 91% in favor of Boom. Woo! They're feeling good. They're definitely in the driver's seat for this one, brother.
We started the day with a comeback from a 96% margin, so
True.
A lot can still happen. There's still some hope here as well. The Disruptor has access to this Aghanim Scepter, which I'm not sure if it's been scouted just yet, but if not, could certainly end up surprising BetBoom Esports. And we're about to find out if they know about this or not as they smoke up, heading into the Dire Triangle. Ghost, yet again, positioned to try and break this one. Who's the first one caught? Oh no! It's Chalice caught first, and the Ravage from FBZ is onto both supports. X-Nova won't be able to escape. Kaka's going to try. He, at the very least, is allowed to live, but Yopaj denies X-Nova that privilege. 2 heroes have fallen here after a massive jump. Somnus caught out with the Yule Scepter. Okay, no, they're trying to hold off onto FBZ and Tims, prevent them from being able to connect with the rest of their team. Aegis has now expired, so BetBoom Esports are not playing with Immortality anymore. You need to be careful. Nonetheless, they're looking quite good here, Fluke. There's no buybacks on the side of RNG, but at the very least, they've been able to delay this upcoming push. Are they going to take this fight, or do they give up yet another lane of racks once the respawns happen?
Oh man, it's so hard. It's like, at some point, yes, you can keep giving up ground, but eventually you're going to lose all that ground, right? Like, you know, we've got the Aghanim Scepter that's been built up here by Somnus. They've got the Aghanim Scepter on X-Nova. They at least, they have ideas. They have good items to be able to get it, and if they're able to pick off Tim's here on the Tusk, that's going to be a nice little start for them. So RNG, they take one tiny little step. They get killed on the Tims there. They get themselves a little bit of gold in their back pockets. They move closer and closer to some of these final couple of items. But RNG, they need to have a team fight on their own terms. I think think that's the biggest thing for me here, Snare, is they need to make sure that they don't just have Jackie blinking into their backline as a Pudge, hitting a Shiva's guard and hitting BKB, and then just going, oh crap, what are we supposed to do now? They need to be on the front foot. They need to get this Aghanim Static Storm onto the Pudge, preferably onto both the Pudge and Yopaj at the same time, to be able to try and burst them down in that duration. But it's going to be a hard task, but if any team can do it, you've got faith in RNG.
They've got literally perfect vision of Jackie right now with this high ground ward in the triangle on the Radiant side. So they know where he's at. They know that he's not alone, that he's got his crew with him, but it looks like they're actually trying to stack up for a fight themselves on the side of Boom. How are they going to look for this approach? RNG, is Kaka going to look for the toss-back play that we saw earlier? I think he is. He's going for it. He's going for it. Here we go. Oh! Outplayed, baby. Jackie knew it was coming, prepared for it, and he's now gotten the positioning because he knows where RNG are standing. They're going to get some D-wards in the meantime as well. And it's not looking good for RNG in this situation. They have to try and back as quickly as possible. Somnus, oh no, gets hooked. There's going to be the BKB though coming in from him. Does manage to remnant away. Jackie didn't commit his own BKB, but Somnus could not take the risk of not doing the same. So that is now a BKB down. Roshan is not available, so they can't just mosey on in there on the side of BetBoom Esports, but they can just reassert control over this dire jungle and make sure that their approach to Roshan is much easier than RNG's.
It's about 30 seconds until we figure out when this spawn is going to be here for Roshan as well. You can just see the movements for RNG. They understand that they need to try and get one of these team fights on the front foot, but it's so hard. They have to hit such a mechanically difficult kind of team fight. They need to isolate the Pudge and then be able to dump their spells on top of him, and they need to be able to do it in such a quick time that BetBoom Esports aren't able to react. They need to be able to react with their own BKBs to make sure they don't get constantly ravaged, to make sure that Yopaj can't get into this team fight as well. And at the end of the day, Tims can always save as well because he's got his Blink Dagger now on the Tusks. So yeah, it's a very steep hill here, Snare, but at least they have ways of getting it. They definitely have a clear path, but the path is just very spooky and very hard to try and traverse here.
Basically like going to university or trying to gain MMR in Dota. RNG, they smoke up. It's their opportunity right now to try something. They've tried many things. Unfortunately, like you mentioned, the chain of events that has to happen for success, quite difficult to muster. And boom, they've just gotten a refresher on Jackie's Pudge. Okay.
Okay.
That's
it's an item.
a lot of Magic immunity. It's double Shivas in the midst of this fight. Double Dismember as well. We've seen how influential that spell can be. But now here comes the first big clash in quite a while. Ghost gets scouted. Ghost gets hexed. Gets off the BKB though because they did have the dog pack going. Has to go into the very early Shadow Dance. They haven't been able to find the Black Hole or the Static Storm. There comes Black Hole at long last. Black Hole does get cancelled thanks to the Global Silence. So now Chalice, his life will be forfeit. Ran down by Jackie. The first casualty of this fight, but now Somnus trying to go back in. There's the Static Storm though. Onto 2 from X-Nova. They have enough to kill Jackie, and now they're leading on to FBZ as well. He does find the Ravage at the end of the day, but it's not going to be enough to save him. Yopaj on the other side of things though, able to solo kill onto Somnus, but I'm not sure if he'll be allowed to escape this fight. Tims brought back, coming in on the outpost. He's TPing in here just to ensure that Yopaj is not isolated and alone, but he might still be in a rough spot. Yopaj needs help. Yopaj needs a miracle, but miracles are in short supply as Tims gets glimpsed back into his death, which is a dieback as well. It cost the lives of Chalice, the life of Somnus, but nonetheless, they win the fight at long last here, Fluke, and they force a dieback. And guess what they've done as well? We've opened up the path to the big man as a double damage rune spawns.
Oh, you take that every day of the week. If you're RNG right now, they get themselves 3.8k gold. Looking back at the replay here, they just got baited into that little corner. They were just not completely focused about that Ag Static Storm. FBZ with this Wind Waker being able to get himself away from the Slark. If he didn't have that Wind Waker, Ghost was able to directly get on top of him. I think the fact that at the start of this fight that the Dark Pack came out from Ghost, got rid of the Hex that came out onto him as well, coming in from Yopaj. He put himself in such a good position, and now it starts getting very scary for Boom because RNG, they've tasted a team fight victory. They tasted exactly how this goes, and we've seen Slark games like this now. Everybody's played against a Slark where they absolutely dumps this hero for the entirety of the game. He wins one team fight, He gets a whole boatload of these Escher ship stacks, comes back with 1 or 2 extra items, and then the game feels over. So RNG, they're still a little bit behind here. Definitely a little bit behind. They've eked this back from about, 96? It was 94% at the highest point for the win probability, and now they've eked it back to 78. So they're definitely at a point here where RNG are starting to wrangle this game back, and they have the late game Slark. So this is where this game really starts to feel good, and maybe Boom may have kind of put themselves behind the 8 ball by not being able to finish the game just in time.
Yeah. Still do have that lane of racks to be happy about, since it's a source of constant push-in on the bottom side of the map. An additional worry for RNG, so they keep having to address it. Life would be much worse right now if the lane state was even. But like you mentioned, Ghost is starting to get stronger. So is the Ember Spirit. One thing that can be frustrating as well is there are some limitations to exactly how you can itemize to become unkillable on the Leshrac. So that entire responsibility is on Jackie, but Jackie still has to deal not just with the Static Storm coming in from the Disruptor. You do have a Silver Edge available now for the slot. So both Pudge and the Tidehunter not too happy about this. Being broken always sucks. The outlay of damage not fun to deal with.
It definitely feels bad to be able to have that extra bit of bonus damage as well, especially the fact that you get the crits that come in from the Slark as well. So not only is he stealing your stats, but he's also dealing a boatload of damage to you as well. Ghost is feeling pretty strong on this high ground as well. He's got the Witch Bane, so he's able to deal with any of these Ghost Scepters and any of these Dual Scepters that come up as well. It's the Hex that comes down, the hook hits on.
Kaka dragged back into Jackie, will find himself being dismembered up. Ghost already on it, trying to force this fight right now, but he forced the BKB coming out of the Pudge. Somnus lays out a Remnant, thinking about making the big jump. Ghost still has access to the Shadow Dance as well as an Aegis, so very, very far from being in a threatening position. And they successfully managed to bail out Kaka there. I'm very surprised by this one. I thought that surely FBZ, at the very least, might come in for an Anchor Smash or two. Maybe they throw in some Lightning, but after that last fight, and given that they have an Aegis on the side of RNG, they'd rather not overcommit for a lowly Tiny. If that was like Slark or something, maybe you try chance it, but just for Kaka, you are prepared to let it go. But that does mean that RNG are also prepared to take more farm on the map. The net worth lead has been shaved down to only 4k. At 40 minutes, 4 or 5k, literally nothing. Absolutely none. So BetBoom Esports, they're also about to lose a tier 2 tower in this mid lane. They can deny it now or have it die on the next incoming Eidolon wave, but either way, it is forfeit. And this game is starting to feel a lot better for RNG. Will they get caught here though? Because it looks like BetBoom Esports have some awareness of this 2-hero avalanche into the Static Storm. FBZ though, he didn't get caught by the kinetic field. He's allowed to escape here. Somnus, no BKB at the ready. We see all of these heroes trying to escape. Glimpse back onto Yopaj. He's not allowed to go home. And they know now that he has no allies. Kaka finds him with the avalanche toss. Here comes Chalice. Had the BKB active. They only want Yopaj. They only have eyes for the Leshrac, and they will find him. The Rainbow Pony is dead, and RNG have taken down 2. And now there is no net worth lead officially. Fluke, what's the number now? What does Dota Plus say?
Dota Plus is starting to lean pretty heavily towards RNG. This is starting to get... it's still 65% for Boom, so they are still ahead, but I think anybody with some eyeballs and a little bit of Dota sense are definitely feeling that this is starting to go towards RNG pretty heavily. Felt bad for Chalice in that last team fight. He BKB'd up to the high ground to try and black hole the Leshrac, and then X-Nova glimpsed him all the way to the other side of the map, so Chalice kind of walked around as this big gold man. But at this point right now, RNG, they're looking in a really, really good position. They've still got 20 seconds left on this Aegis as well, so they need to make sure they don't overstep their bounds. They don't have the Static Storm in their back pocket. They still have the Black Hole to be able to utilize here, but with Global Silence as well as Ravage at the ready, RNG, if they overstep just a little bit too far, they can definitely get caught out here. So they don't get the tier 3 tower. They're just going to fall back. They don't want to overplay their hand. And then RNG are just going to sit back and farm here. So, Boom, they're still in a good spot. I think the Pudge can do a lot of work to a lot of these backline kind of heroes, but I just don't know who's going to deal with the Slark at this point. Yopaj is built for a little bit more of this lockdown. He's got a lot of damage with the Kaya and Sanj, but Ghost is happy to just kind of play around these fights, man. Like, he's more than happy to just duck and dive, go back in. Now he's got the Lincoln Sphere, so he doesn't ever have to worry about being blink bitten or even just blink hexed as well. So Ghost is definitely in a good spot here. to be able to ramp up. He doesn't have any like crazy amount of damage just yet, so I think that's one shining light here for Boom, is that Ghost hasn't got like a Skadi or an Abyssal Blade or like a Butterfly or a Moon Shard. He's gone purely defensive kind of items, and the only thing they really have to be worried about is this Silver Edge. So I catch him.
Jackie and the gang. Still not yet having conceded a lane of racks. They still have that advantage for themselves. They're actually going middle. They're going to try force a fight onto Jackie. Will they be able to take this? It's only a 6-second BKB. He does have a refresher if he wants to go for it, though. In the meantime, they jump the silencer. Does have buyback, but now there's no logo. Static Storm catching FBZ as well as Jackie. They brought down Jackie. FBZ attempting to run. He's going to dodge the 1 pounce. Another one is coming soon. He's been stalled out with the Avalanche. They have so many spells to manipulate your movement. And there's going to be the pounce eventually. Ghost finds a double kill. More north towards the fight. We have Tims delaying the inevitable by going into the snowball. Kaka is there. Oh, Tims actually manages to blink away. Will he actually survive this? Doesn't have TP at the ready. His mech is already off cooldown. On cooldown, rather. And they give the kill towards Kaka. They wanted Ghost to get the triple, but they don't really care about that. They more care about the perma agi, and they found it. Ghost and the gang will be able to find another massive fight here. This is a big problem, Fluke, because that was without them having to commit anything but Static Storm. That's the only big spell expended. Black Hole is still at the ready somehow. And because they didn't have to commit all that hard, they can take this lane of racks and probably get out without having to suffer too many penalties from Boom.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a 2 racks combo deal here for RNG. They're going to walk in, see if they can find a Yopaj for the side. Come back around,
the toss back onto said Yopaj. BKB is there, but as soon as this duration is over, he knows that he can't actually get involved in the fight. I say that, but he jumps forward. Yopaj! Yopaj! Oh god, he died. FBZ brought back, hoping to connect with him at the same time with the Ravage, but not going to be able to do so. Instead, Yopaj dies without buyback. RNG, not feeling super confident though. They don't know themselves that this Leshrac lacks buyback. So, with FBZ alive, the threat of the Ravage being available, they will decide to retreat. And somebody has to go home. Remember that they got racks down bottom, so these super creeps actually took the tier 4 tower in this mid lane as well.
We're okay if we're RNG with that one though. You know, tier 4 towers, who needs them? We don't need them if we're inside the enemy base. It is a little bit of a win con though for Boom, so it is actually getting towards that point where it can start to be a little bit important. Yopaj got completely blown up. You know, I'm really starting to feel for Chalice's R button right now, because I think he's pressed it a grand total of once this entire game. So if he gets given the refresher shard here, I'm actually just going to give it to myself. Refresher for his second and third uses of the black hole in the entirety of the game, and Charles has been doing a good job at kind of playing the peripheries. I don't think he really has to black hole all too much. The one black hole that he has gotten off, I believe it got cancelled by the Global Silence, and it's like this game of chicken, right? We've seen this throughout the entirety of Enigma's stint in Dota 2. It's all about the chicken, right? Like, you want to make sure that you're hitting a good black hole, but you've also got to make sure that the ability that is going to counteract your black hole has also already been used. So we're looking at a point now where Chalice is just sitting around in these team fights and going, I can't really get a good black hole off, but the threat of black hole is still always there and it's still always real. I like that they've given it to X-Nova, so the refresher shard means we're going to have double static storm, and we've seen what X-Nova's been able to do with these static storms so far, man. So I'd be pretty sad if it weren't seeing it in his hands.
Real talk, right? Double black hole would be cool. Black holes are nice, but X-Nova shows that you don't even need black holes when you have static storms in the way that he's been throwing them out. It's been like they lose this game 100% without his static storms with the Aghanim Scepter. So he has been a monster. He certainly deserves the refresher. And Chalice, like you mentioned, he can just sit back and have that threat of the black hole. RNG, their prime job now is just going to be to push out this bottom wave, get back into a position where they can push on the high ground, equalize the lanes, make it as normal as possible. Let's talk about the side of Boom here, though, because things are looking quite rough. Sure, they're trying to build into this refresher for Scam, but for the core heroes, is there any item on the horizon that can actually change their fortunes right now?
I'm just trying to look to see what Jackie has. I'm feeling like he's starting to regret this refresher. right now. It doesn't feel like it's really doing much for him. It's a whole lot of gold that he's invested into really not much. I can't really see anything else that would have been all too good for him. Maybe an overwhelming blink for them to try and end some of these games earlier on. Maybe even just an Eternal Shroud. Wouldn't have been too bad early on here for Jackie, but I think it's kind of gotten to the point now where Pudge and Leshrac are just kind of at that point where their heroes... I don't think any items are really going to save them all too much. Maybe we see something like a heart, or maybe even just like an E-Blade can come in from the Leshrac, or maybe in something along the lines of like an Aghanim Scepter with an Nihilism. Can do a lot of work, but you just see how hard it is for them to engage on this Slark, right? He's got an Aegis, he always has the Dark Pact at the ready, and they just get a free lane of racks, and at the back, you're always going to be worrying about X-Nova. You're always going to be worried about Chalice. These guys, if they hit their R buttons on 1 to 2 heroes, these team fights are over.
Yep.
They're just
Make
going to try
matters
to
even
finish,
more
I think.
difficult here. Ghost came through with a Bloodthorn,
Radiant's
so
top tower
all the BKB durations are very, very low. Both of them for Yopaj as well as Jackie. As a result, if your BKB finishes and you're Yopaj, you're gonna get silenced and killed. It's gonna be great. Ghost though, it will be the combination, split Earth into Hook. But as per usual, Ghost somehow managing to get off one of his defensive spells. This time around though, he committed the full Shadow Dance instead of just popping the Dark Pact. So that will bounce back RNG for the long, overwhelmingly long duration of 20 seconds. Dude, this Shadow Dance spell, honestly, this needs a rework. Needs a long
Oh, they've got him.
They make the jump now onto Ghost. They have it jump, but the Static Storm is there from Axe Nova. Yeah, nobody's gonna survive this one. Yopaj is gone. Jackie was able to get off the secondary BKB. Nobody's dead just yet on the side of RNG though. Kaka, they blink onto him on the left side. Chalice finally gets a black hole, but it's on mid-air because he gets snowballed into by Tims. But he refreshed. He can come in for another one. He bought the full orb. Global Silence has been thrown out. Ghost jumping onto Yopaj. Yopaj able to get back right now. Nice little hook onto Kaka, dragging him into the base. However, Somnus is going to come back to join him. There's the second black hole. The Wind Waker will try and save the Pudge, but not going to be able to do so for much longer. Somnus trying to make this jump back in. Somehow, Jackie is still alive. He will eventually be brought down, though, by X-Nova, who throws in the Thunder Strike onto his face. And that is one big Pudge, dead and down to rights. Your Pudge, how many options do you have, my friend? He's taking this damage from the Slog. He's being controlled by Kaka. He pops the Bloodstone, though, to try and hopefully stay alive, and it enables him to at least kill the Slog. But thanks to the glimpse back, as soon as the BKB is over,
Give him the
he
rampage.
gets taken out. And they give Somnus the freaking... Wait, come on, do it!
No!
Oh, Ghost. I'm done. All right. You're working alone from now on, Fluke. I'm done. I was going to be hyping up RNG and say shout out to them for winning such a phenomenal game, for a great comeback. But Ghost, I know you helped carry that game, fam, but you're not going to give Somnus a TI-11 Rampage? Down with RNG, man. I'm very unhappy about this.
RNG, man, what a good way for them to start out this series here against Boom. I think the way they drafted was